Sun cast a shadow, a digital line is coming over the mountain and over your mind. Double down your Bitcoin, hang on for the ride. We're moving into the future, one block at a time. We're moving into the future, one block at a time.
Welcome to Once Upon a Coin, documenting the ongoing history of blockchain and cryptocurrency. As always, I'm your storyteller, Jason Cassidy. Today's story looks at one of the earliest Bitcoin startups to emerge in the Mesozoic era of cryptocurrency. And if you've been around in crypto back in the day, then this company's likely to bring back some fond memories. And if you weren't in crypto early on, then today you are going to learn about one of the very first gaming on the blockchain use cases. This is the story of Satoshi Dice. Let's kick things off by first taking a look at what Satoshi Dice was. And a general description of it goes something like this. Satoshi Dice was one of the very first and by far the most important and popular gambling site for Bitcoin to ever exist. A deeper look at Satoshi Dice, however, reveals a lot more under the hood. First off, it was founded in April of 2012 by serial entrepreneur Eric Voorhees, the same man behind the popular Shapeshift cryptocurrency exchange that was founded just 2 years later in 2014. What most people do not know about Satoshi's Dice is that it wasn't actually created by Eric himself. He purchased the website as an active Bitcoin casino from a user going by the handle of FireDuck. And once Eric had completed the purchase of the website, he rebranded it to Satoshi's Dice and then began marketing en masse to the Bitcoin community. And his plan worked. One of the draws of Satoshi Dice is actually how it functioned. It was a quick, simple, and fun way to do on-chain gambling. And what this meant was, unlike traditional online casino operators where you had to trust that they were running a legitimate business behind the scenes, with Satoshi's Dice there was no such concern due to its trustless nature of being on the blockchain. You access the platform via the SatoshiDice.com website, which employed a number of publicly known static Bitcoin addresses that represented different bets in the form of specific betting odds. Users would then send whatever amount of Bitcoin they wished to the specified betting address, and this would help establish the bet. If the user won, Satoshi Dice would send back the original betting amount in addition to the payout multiplier. And since each betting address had a predetermined winning payout listed, users knew everything required to make a quick and fun bet. The concept was straightforward and it worked really well. Keep in mind that back in 2012, not many people had heard about Bitcoin yet, and thus there really wasn't a whole lot of innovation around creative ways to spend your Bitcoin. And while gambling may seem like a no-brainer level use case for cryptocurrency today, back in 2012, this was actually a pretty big deal in terms of different ways that you could use cryptocurrency outside of basic payments. This is why so many early Bitcoin adopters flocked to Satoshi's Dice. It was becoming a great white shark in the kiddies pool, and with little competition, it began to set records. As you can imagine, all this success brought a lot of attention to Satoshi Dice and its creative founder, Eric Voorhees. Perhaps realizing that he had struck gold, Eric moved to capitalize on his good fortune when, in August of 2012, he listed Satoshi's Dice as a dividend-paying stock on MPEX, a popular Bitcoin securities exchange. By January of 2013, Satoshi's Dice had announced they had processed over $15 million in bets, netting them around $500,000 in commissions. And this news had a great impact on the stock price as it soared, helping raise the company's valuation to $9 million. When a winning bet took place, Bitcoin was sent out to the winner. However, the vast majority of bets, of course, resulted in a loss. When a loss occurred, 0.05% of the original wager was sent back to the user as a confirmation that the system was working properly. And what this meant is that each bet on Satoshi's Dice resulted in no less than 2 blockchain transactions. In June of 2013, the site was averaging around 12.4 thousand bets made per day, which, as we just established, translates to around 24.8 thousand transactions being generated. Taking a look at the Bitcoin blockchain around this time reveals that about 48.4 thousand transactions were being processed daily on the network. And what that means is that for a very brief time period, Satoshi Dice was responsible for over half of all the Bitcoin transactions in the world. Wow. This was more than some online casinos were doing, and they had a tremendous amount of overhead to worry about compared to the ultra lightweight and simplistic offering that was Satoshi Dice. Not surprisingly, all this action had netted Satoshi Dice and Eric Voorhees a lot of attention, including from US regulators. In May of 2013, this became a reality, and Satoshi Dice began facing mounting legal pressure. In response, they began banning US-based IP addresses from visiting their website. Wanting to take advantage of its success before the walls closed in on him, Voorhees sold Satoshi Dice in July of 2013 to an undisclosed buyer for 126,315 Bitcoin, worth around $11.5 million US at the time. This sale was a landmark event, as it clearly demonstrated the potential of blockchain-based businesses that weren't solely focused on just payments. This helped usher in a surge of interest around cryptocurrency gambling, seeing many spin-off businesses forming now that they conclusively knew there was a growing appetite around this type of offering. From here, other entrepreneurs began to show up and offer non-gambling focused Bitcoin businesses. The genie was now officially out of the bottle, and Satoshi Dice was the one who had let the genie out. So, what happened to Satoshi Dice after the sale? Is this the end of the story? Well, no, there's a little bit more to this tale yet. Despite divesting himself of the burden of operating a business that was quickly becoming a regulator's favorite topic, Eric Voorhees still somehow found himself directly in the sights of the US government. In March of 2014, the Securities and Exchange Commission got involved, announcing that they had been conducting an ongoing investigation into Eric Voorhees and Satoshi Dice, along with MPEX. That was the Bitcoin Securities Exchange that actually listed Satoshi Dice as a dividend-paying stock years prior. By June of that year, the SEC went after Voorhees by charging him with the sale of unregistered securities tied to Satoshi Dice via the MPEX exchange. Voorhees was ultimately forced to buy back all outstanding shares in addition to paying over $50,000 to finally settle the case. Having witnessed this carnage unfold, it probably doesn't come as much of a surprise then to learn that the new owner of Satoshi Dice quickly moved to transition the service to perform off-chain betting operations. There was growing pushback from the Bitcoin community, with the largest concern stemming from the mixing of payment settlements and online gambling being a poor combination for full node operators to handle. Mostly, people just didn't want to see the powerful potential of Bitcoin as a revolutionary payment technology get bogged down due to angry regulators who were steaming over an on-chain gambling application. After the dust had finally settled from the sale and the regulatory hoopla that followed afterwards, Satoshi Dice continued operating under its new ownership without many hiccups. However, its popularity gradually declined over time as more gambling sites emerged that simply were offering more compelling user experiences. Believe it or not, Satoshi Dice is still alive and well today, and you can try it out for yourself at satoshidice.com. And while it may not enjoy the same level of hype it did during its heyday, it still remains one of the most respected gambling sites in the cryptocurrency industry. Beyond that, its legacy lives on as a testament to the innovative spirit that humanity is fully yet to unleash. Not only did it showcase the unrealized potential that blockchain technology offers, but it also spurred a new generation of concepts, ideas, and dreams, some of which are now serving as today's version of Satoshi Dice in their respective industries. I hope you enjoyed today's stroll down memory lane. Until next time, have fun and stay safe, my friends. I'll be back soon with another incredible story to tell you.